All right, everyone, welcome back. It seems like you're all fired up about the competition heating up between Blue Origin and SpaceX
Mhm.
and what it means for, us becoming a multiplanetary species, which is awesome. We are too. We
Yeah.
asked you to send in articles and you delivered. We're going to be diving deep into one from SpaceX's own website and a space.com article on the recent Starship Flight 7 tests.
Right. This is about way more than just who gets to like a milestone first. This is about totally different approaches, right? How
Yeah.
we even get to space and then what we do when we're actually out there. It's huge.
Exactly. And speaking of getting to space, let's kick things off with SpaceX.
Yeah.
They don't seem afraid to push things to the limit, constantly testing, iterating, and, well, sometimes things go boom.
Yeah.
Like with this Starship Flight 7 test, they tried that chopsticks catch of the Super Heavy booster.
Oh, yeah. So ambitious, that whole thing.
I mean, trying to guide that massive booster back to the launch tower using, robotic arms.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it. Precision engineering on a scale we've never seen before.
And while the booster, it didn't exactly nail the landing, the fact that they even tried it says a lot about how they do things.
Totally.
Oh, and we can't forget the upper stage, what they call ship. That didn't exactly stick the landing either. It could have exploded over the Atlantic.
It was like a fireworks show that went very, very wrong.
A rapid, unscheduled disassembly is what SpaceX called it.
That's one way to put it. I guess it's a good reminder that for all the progress we've made, space travel is still, pretty dangerous.
For sure.
But it's all about learning from these setbacks, right? And SpaceX's whole thing, their whole philosophy seems to be built on rapid iteration, even if it means a few spectacular explosions along the way.
They definitely seem to embrace that fail fast, fail often idea.
Totally.
But while SpaceX is grabbing headlines with these big kind of risky tests, what about Blue Origin? They've been a lot quieter lately, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they have. And I think that difference in approach is really at the heart of their rivalry. SpaceX, they just want to get to Mars, like, as soon as possible. Starship is the key to their Martian dreams.
Makes sense.
Blue Origin, though, they're more about building a sustainable infrastructure out in space.
So SpaceX is Mars, and Blue Origin is...
It's less about reaching a specific destination and more about creating a way of life in space, I think.
So SpaceX wants to be the first to get to Mars and plant a flag, while Blue Origin wants to build the space-based society that might one day make that kind of journey, normal.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Blue Origin wants millions of people living and working in space, and that needs a whole different way of thinking, A focus on creating a space-based economy and an infrastructure that can support a large-scale, permanent human presence in space. Like, wow, think of it this way. SpaceX is like building the spaceship, and Blue Origin is building the spaceport.
Ooh, I like that.
And we need both, to make this whole multiplanetary future thing work.
Absolutely. Now, I know some people out there might be thinking that Blue Origin's approach, the quieter one, makes it seem like they're falling behind in this whole space race thing.
Yeah.
But is that really a fair way to look at it?
I think that's where it gets interesting. You see, while SpaceX is out there, grabbing all the headlines with those flashy Starship tests, Blue Origin has been quietly working away on their new Glenn rocket.
Okay.
This thing is a workhorse, reusable, incredibly powerful. It's designed to haul some serious payloads into orbit.
Gotcha.
And they're also putting a lot of resources into developing space-based habitats and even orbital infrastructure. Think about it.
It's giving me some serious sci-fi vibes, like those giant rotating space stations we see in movies.
Exactly. And here's the thing. We can't forget that both SpaceX and Blue Origin are private companies.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they need to make space commercially viable if
Yeah.
they want to succeed long term.
It can't all be about launching cool rockets.
It's about so much more. It's about creating an entire space-based economy, industry services, and eventually maybe even permanent settlements out there. Who knows?
It's not just about getting to space.
Yeah.
It's about what we do when we get there. And it seems like these two companies have very different ideas about that.
Yeah.
But for you, the listener, what does all this talk of a multiplanetary future actually mean? Is it just some abstract concept? Or could it have a real impact on our lives here on Earth?
That's the question, isn't it? I think it's something we all need to think about. Because striving for this multiplanetary existence could lead to some pretty amazing advancements that benefit everyone. Think about the technologies they're developing for space travel and resource extraction.
Yeah.
Those things could have huge implications here on Earth. Help us tackle things like resource scarcity and even climate change.
It's like what we saw with GPS and satellite communications, right? Those came from space exploration. Imagine what else we could come up with if we really put our minds to it and ramp up our space efforts. But of course, there's always the flip side, right? What about the environmental impact of all this space travel? Or the potential for conflict over resources in space?
You're absolutely right. We need to be careful. We need to think things through. As we venture further out beyond Earth, we need to consider the ethical implications. It's not just about conquering space.
It's about being responsible with it.
Exactly. It's about stewarding it responsibly for the benefit of all humankind.
It's a lot to think about, for sure. The potential benefits, the risks, the different approaches these companies are taking. It's almost like we're living in a science fiction story unfolding right before our eyes.
Yeah, it really is. It's what makes this whole Blue Origin versus SpaceX thing so interesting. It's not just about the technology. It's about two totally different visions for, like, what humanity's future in space could actually look like.
You got a SpaceX, they have that audacious, almost like swashbuckling style, going for the big one, Mars.
Yeah.
And then you have Blue Origin taking the more methodical, long game approach, building towards a future where space is just another place for humans. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring it back to the news this week. We saw Starship Flight 7 take another step, even if it ended, well, with a bit of a bang. And Blue Origin, even though they might not be in the spotlight right now, they're still working towards their goals, chipping away at it.
It reminds us this whole race to space. It's not a sprint. It's definitely more of a marathon.
Yeah.
There will be setbacks, maybe even a few more explosions, who knows, maybe even some course corrections along the way. But I think the end goal for both companies, it's the same. It's to make humanity a multiplanetary species.
That's a big one. And it's a future that can change everything, even for those of us who never leave Earth.
Just imagine for a second, a future where we have access to the resources of the entire solar system. A future where the technology we develop for space actually helps us solve problems back here at home. A future where the whole spirit of exploration and pushing boundaries, drives us forward.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you really think about it. A future full of so many possibilities.
And challenges, too, of course.
So as we've seen in this deep dive, Blue Origin and SpaceX, they're both playing a huge role in shaping that future, each in their own way.
It's pretty amazing. So next time you're looking up at the night sky, think about those two companies. Pushing the boundaries, testing the limits, and working towards a future where home is bigger than just this little blue planet.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Blue Origin, SpaceX, and the multiplanetary future that's waiting for us. Keep asking those questions, keep looking up, and hey, who knows? Maybe one day you'll be a part of this incredible journey too. Thanks for listening, everybody.